Hello, friends on the comic world. My name is Hector,
And my name is G.
and we're here to talk to you about the collected editions that are coming out on May 2024. G and I work for Penguin Random House. We manage sales into the direct market around the world. So titles that we talked about in these videos are from the publishers that we represent into those markets. Please also note that we are on social media, so you can follow us at PRH International Comics on Twitter, X, on Instagram, Facebook, and of course YouTube. And also note that sometimes there are some delays, so there might be some titles that you see here that we included in previous presentations and previous videos. Just know, that is normal in this industry. Every once in a while, there's going to be a delay here and there. And then to tell you a little bit about how these videos work, in case it's the first time you watch them, we're going to go through some of our picks, titles that G and I want to recommend because we're really excited about that are coming out in the month of May. Then we'll show you a few titles that we want to highlight. We want to make sure we highlight, and then we'll show you the rest of the list. You'll be able to see all the rest of the titles that are coming out as collected editions and graphic novels during the month of May. Okay, so I think we got all the business out of the way. Let's get into the fun stuff, let's start with the first title. And the first pick is mine is Batman Black Mirror, the deluxe edition. This is written by Scott Snyder, illustrated by Jock and Francesco Francavilla. It's shared by them because it's several issues included in here. So this is one of the it's become a very classic Batman story. Um, and having a deluxe edition is amazing. Also, let me mention this is a trade, the regular uh cover by Jock, obviously. And the next one also by Jock. This is the direct market exclusive. So we have a for DC, we have this direct market exclusive cover available as well. So this is a very cool story. Is it's wherein Scott Snyder recently took over writing Batman. He's like I believe it's the first time ever he had written for DC. I'm not completely sure, but I definitely the first time he starts writing for Batman. And he this story is sort of um it's very interesting because Batman is not Bruce Wayne. It's actually Dick Grayson. And it's very cool to see Dick Grayson in the spot of Batman, not for just one issue or two, not while Batman is recuperating for a couple of weeks, uh, but really becoming Batman and doing the job of Batman. And it's during a time where there's a lot going on. Uh the biggest thing that happens is like there's a robbery at the Gotham police of a lot of the supervillain weapons, and they get out on the streets, and then so Dick has to investigate this murders and things that are happening with these weapons, and he has to gather all these weapons together with Commissioner Gordon and Gotham police, but also one of the villains he has to deal with is with Jim Gordon Jr. And this character is, to me, and I think some of the people, because I was looking at the reviews, do agree. It's one of the best characters they have come out with in the recent years. It's because he's very psycho, a little bit of a psycho, but he's not that extreme as a Joker, and he's like a very plausible. That's one of the words one of the reviewers was using. One very plausible kind of villain, and in a world where you have penguins and Mister Freeze and very extreme villains, which are great, it's good to have a more grounded one that is and to have it be a villain that Dick Grayson deals with also gives it a very different perspective. There's also a lot of drama going on between Commissioner Gordon and Barbara Gordon. Bruce Wayne is in the story every once in a while, but he's up dealing with Batman Incorporated. So he's not really completely in the story. He's not Batman. So it is one, like I said, it's become a very classic story. Is in the combination of Scott Snyder with the illustrations from both Jock and Francesca Francavilla, it makes this book so beautiful, and that's why it's deserving of this deluxe edition. All right, next up. Oh, there you go.
So completely shifting here, we have
Yeah.
onto "And the Realm of Darkness" by May Nguyen, and May is a Vietnamese and Japanese creator, and for this one, we have a character who goes to a new school and is very concerned that she's going to be made fun of. Or actually, not a new school, like a new town, but she'll also have new classmates. But she's very afraid that like her name would get made fun of and her family traditions would be made fun of. She feels like an outcast. But when she is accidentally like transported into this Shinto underworld, she realizes, no, this is what an outsider is like, really. Because like she's like completely in a different realm. And while she's in the underworld, she notices that there are like kidnapped like spirits of children, and she so desperately wants to help them, but then she's like struggling and warring with the fact of, do I save them or save myself? Because if I am stuck here, and if I can't reach the gate between worlds before nightfall, she will be stuck there forever in this like spirit, and be lost as a spirit. And so she's like wrestling with that judgment call. So really cool premise. Definitely for fans of both manga and graphic novels, and it's a crossover appeal for those markets of those types of readers. So yeah, had to include this here and spotlight it for the month of May.
Very cool. All right. Next up, Kingdom Riders. This is by Denton and Shannon Toe. Shannon Denton and Marcus Toe. Why did I say it that way? That was very weird. I apologize. Uh, this is a very cool fantasy action story. In the description, it is compare. I think it says it on there on the slide. Yeah, it compares a like a combination of Hunger Games and Amulet. To me, it also feels like many other stories where a competition, a character, unlikely character, gets into competition to save someone or a place. It gives me a little bit of Phantom Menace, Star Wars Phantom Menace vibes with the pod races. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and read a little bit of the description. As Kyla is a peasant who cares little about the world outside her town or the widely popular kingdom races. That is, until her best friend Mal finds herself in trouble, and Kyla must enter as a rider to save her. But the price for winning this series of races is more than Kyla could ever imagine. With control of the entire kingdom at stake, Kyla found herself thrust into political intrigue and lurking danger. So it sounds very cool. And the so both Shannon Denton and Marcus Stowe are both veterans in the industry, and Shannon Denton especially has been a writer for many projects, not just comic books and graphic novels and prose, but also has done animation, and it has done screenwriting. And I want to mention a couple of them because it's stuff that you probably will recognize. Hi Puffy Amiyumi, Justice League Action, Ben 10, Transformers, Robots in Disguise, Avengers Assemble, Spider-Man, the 2019 animated. So there's a lot of that, and he done also a lot of animation, not just the writing. So there's a lot of the a lot of experience behind the story. But in also Marcus Tove, if you don't know, he has done work for a lot of comics all around. Recently, he has done work for IDW for the Star Trek, different some of the different Star Trek series that are running right now. So, but he has done, if you look at his resume, he has done a lot of things for almost every publisher out there, I would say. So this is one that I'm really excited. It also gives me a little bit of vibe of like the world building of things like the Avatar, The Last Airbender, and some of the other ones like that. So it looks extremely cool. I really I'm excited to read this one. So I think it could do really well. And next up,
Next on we
ah,
have the we have the complete tale of Corgi. This is actually not the first time I've mentioned Christian Slade before.
yeah,
He is a former Disney animator, which makes sense, given the illustrations that you'll see here. Now, I am very much a fan of silent comics, and this is one of them right here. So it tells the story of this girl and her corgi as they go on this. I love their names. Her name is Ivy, and the corgi's name is Sprout. And they go on this adventure in these like magical landscapes and escape evil and uncover ancient mysteries. So it's like a fun adventure story with beautiful illustrations. And it's really meant for readers of all ages, which is great because you can share it with like a young reader as well, because, words is not it pictures can show a lot more at times, sometimes more than words can even allow. So had to include this in here and shed a spotlight on it. So yeah.
excellent. And next up, Star Wars Legends: The Rebellion, Omnibus Volume One. It says Simonson, which is one of the authors, but it's actually various authors are involved on this. This is the regular cover, but we also Marvel also has a direct market only cover, as you see here. It collects all those titles that see there on the slide. I'm not going to mention all of them, but I am going to mention a few of them. And speaking of Louise Simonson, her story is Star Wars River of Chaos from 1 to 4. As you may know, this is part of the Star Wars Legends, which is, the stories that came before outside of the movies, but before, when Marvel took over and created the new canon. And so this is not canon currently with the movies and the series and all that. But these are stories that through the 90s especially really helped to gap. It was a time, it was a dark time, G. It was a time where Star Wars fans had seen the original movies, but the prequels were not even announced yet. It's a time where Star Wars fans like me were looking for more Star Wars stuff other than the toys. So great
And
writers would
Hector is
come up with
talking
it.
like that because it was a time I wasn't
It's a time,
involved.
yeah. It's like I feel like the old wise man telling tales of the past to the young person who has no idea of what happened millennia ago. So because she's not very well aware of Star Wars, so I try to educate her as much as I can. But so I love these stories because I've read all these stories. Uh, if you were a fan of Star Wars in the 90s, this is what kept you going as a Star Wars fan. It was the books, it was the comics that were coming out, the video games that were coming out that will give you new content. And these stories were amazing and introduced a lot of new characters and all that, but also introduced stories. And in this one, in this collection, you have a lot of the stories that are in between New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, and it sort of gives you a lot more adventures of for the main characters, and especially for Princess Leia, who was the only woman in the in the first movie. So it's like, well, not the first only woman, but the main character, and she didn't get a lot of story, and you get a lot of her, and it's not necessarily given background stories or flashbacks to their stories. Actually, stories of what happened after the rebels exploded the Death Star, after the rebellion actually, became a big movement. And River Chaos follows not just Princess Leia, but there's a I'm going to talk about a little bit about that one specifically. There's a imperial officer who sent out a mission mission to the by the emperor, and he succeeds in his she succeeds on her mission, but she's also sort of shut down, and she infiltrates the rebel base, and Princess Leia is there, and there's all these spy intrigue things happening in the story. It's very cool miniseries of 4 issues that is collected here. The other one that I want to mention, I mean, there's so many that you're going to want to watch here, but also Star Wars Splinter of the Mind's Eye, which I'm going to go back. That cover is from that miniseries, and it features, yes, Luke and Leia together with C-3PO and R2D2, uh, and they're on a mission to kind of racing against time against Darth Vader, trying to find this artifact that gives Force users a lot of power. So it's cool to see Luke and Leia together by themselves, really, on a mission, a separate mission, which you don't really see in the movies. Uh, and it kind of builds up their relationship. Now, they do not yet know that they're siblings at this point, which is a little bit cringy, but it's not like they kiss or anything on the book. So it's fine. It's not like the movies. All right. So I'm really, as you can tell, I'm extremely excited about this one. I'm excited about this whole collection of legends, and we also have on the Del Rey side, on the book side, we also have the novels that are from that era, and also with this sort of cover with this says legend. So if you're a big fan of Star Wars and you want to know more about Star Wars, even if it's not canon anymore, I highly recommend that you pick them up, and a lot of fans will love this. Especially love the direct market cover. I love this cover. It's so cool. All right. So let's continue. There we
Continuing
go.
on with Medea, this one was actually translated from the original language of French. It's about this legendary sorceress in Greek mythology, uh, Medea, who many people consider as this witch, this formidable, like, evil entity of occult forces. Simply put, that she was considered a monster. But there's much more to Medea's story than that. And so you're gonna have to read this to find out. And so, really cool, beautiful illustrations inside. And yes, it's just uh, her own story, her own voice, and this really beautiful collection. So, wanted to point this out here for this month. You don't want to miss out on this one either.
Very cool. All right. Those are our picks, and then we're gonna now start highlighting some of the other titles that are coming out in May. We're gonna start with Adventures of Superman by George Perez. This is a new edition. And then we have Astonishing Iceman Out Cold by Steve Orlando, and the Volume 4 of Batman Wayne Family Adventures. This is the webtoon that is on Webtoons. Captain Marvel by Elisa Wong, Volume 1, The Omen. Then we also have Cat Wolf and the Howling Commandos by Stephanie Phillips.
Continuing on, we have Chris Samney's Black Widow Artist Edition. So it's those beautiful big editions that you can grab your hands on. We have Tom King's Volume 2 of Dangerous Streets, Daredevil Black Armor by DG Chichester. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's why I didn't
Yeah.
put it on my slide.
Oh,
No, sorry.
this is an
kidding.
alphabetical order, so I just happened to get this slide.
Yeah,
the
no.
EC archives, Weird Fantasy Volume 3. I'm really sorry. I really butchered the names there. By a whole bunch of creators. I'm like dejected now. And
You're
then
so
we have
brave.
an artist edition of EC covers by a whole host of other creators too.
All right, and let's continue. Fables, the deluxe edition, book 16, Bill Willingham, and you, Jim, you mentioned to me that we haven't had one of these deluxe editions for a while. It's been a few years since we had a deluxe edition
Mhm.
for Fables, so that's very cool. And then we have Hellboy Artist Collection, Richard Corbin. I believe this has been pushed back, and I remember seeing this before, but that it was pushed back and now it's coming out. Lore Olympus, Volume 6, Rachel Smith. Then we have Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars Battle World by Tom DeFalco. And this is cool. Marvel Great Responsibility by Dan Fujikawa and Troy Benjamin. This is not from, well, this Marvel licensed by publisher called Ben Bella, by the way.
It's so cool. I saw that and I'm like, oh, like how to raise a kid.
Yeah, yeah. So we should probably mention that. Yeah, it's
It's
a superhero sort of teaching you how to raise a kid. That's
a
why you
raise a
have
kid.
parent superheroes on the cover. If you
Yeah.
didn't notice that.
Mhm. And then next up, we have The Midnight Show, written by Cullen Bunn. We have Miracle Man by Gaiman and Mark Buckingham, The Silver Age. And then from IDW, My Little Pony Classics Reimagined, The Unicorn of Oz, The Wizard of Oz, retelling with this one. I really love the reimagined line.
Yeah, and
And
we have
then
world rights. Yeah, I think we didn't have world rights before for a lot of
before.
the My Little Pony, but this one we definitely have world rights. Just so you know.
And then we have the very celebrated when this came out in single
Yeah.
issues, The Oddly Pedestrian Life of Christopher Chaos. This is the volume one written by James Tiny and the Fourth and Tate Brumble. And then also we have Punisher, The Bullet That Follows by David Pipos.
Yeah. And we continue with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Saturday Morning Adventures Volume 2 by Eric Markingham, Tim Laddie, Doug Lawrence, and Dan Shonen. Then we have Uncanny Avengers The Resistance by Jerry Dugan. And A World of Black Hammer Omnibus Volume 3 by Jeff Lemire and Tate Brumbaugh. And then we have World Finest Teen Titans by Mark Wade. And we finish the highlights with Satana and the Ripper Volume 3. This is also a webtoon from DC by Sarah Deely. So those are our highlights. Like I said before, we're going to leave you with the rest of the list with a little bit of music so you know you don't get too bored looking at covers. And feel free to fast forward, rewind, pause. And as I mentioned before, we're in social media, so make sure to follow us. You can send us comments. We appreciate any likes and shares. And we're on Instagram, we're on X, we're on Facebook, and of course on YouTube under at PRH International Comics. And I think that's it. That's all we needed to say, right?
Hmm. Yep.
All right. So thank you so much for watching. Bye.
Bye.
Fly so high, I'm hypnotized. What's up is down, what's left is right. Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through. Get on board. We're soaring on top of the world. Dangerous times, don't fly too high. Be sure to keep the ground in sight. Fly forever if you keep it tight. Love the world, but keep the sky on your mind.